Okay, we're back at the Steve Malzberg Show. I'm Bill Tucker filling in for Steve. Our political panel, Margaret Howell, Brad Hirschfield, Jack Burkman. We were right in the middle of a really good conversation. Brad, finish your point about numbers, because I've got a question that comes off of that. Those numbers are alarming. I don't think any of us would disagree with that. But where does that take us? 200 million is a big, big number.
It's a very big number. It's a very serious number. It's why the refusal to use phrases like radical Islam have been deadly dangerous over the past 8 years. It is also true that when you go to war against radical Islamists, and I know this from personal experience in the Middle East, a younger, thinner me actually did that. You have to go in with a kind of calm and clear-headedness, which is not always emotionally satisfying, that allows you to paint your enemy all one way or all the other. I think it's going to be very important as we peel back from what I will call dangerous apologetics for Islam, that we not surrender to a kind of mindless generalism that goes to war against all of Islam. Neither one of those are acceptable choices.
Do remember,
neither one of those
Brad, that
200
million people is two-thirds the size of the U.S. So keep that in mind. And any 200 of them,
Interesting, though, they're not state actors.
Here's one thing we have to remember. Here's one thing we have to remember. If there were another 9/11, this is what I want everybody to think about. If we were in the wake of another 9/11, would there be anybody in the country objecting to a Muslim registry? Would there be anybody in the country objecting to any of these things? The answer is no, only the fringe left. Let's not wait till that happens. Let's not wait till that happens.
Margaret, you were trying to jump in there. Go ahead.
No, I was just agreeing with Jack that 200 million people. Are you kidding me? That's the amount that we're talking about that have a radical view of the United States and have intent for harm. Yeah. Nobody's suggesting that all Muslims are bad. That's not even on the table. Of course not. But we're talking about a population that's been radicalized. Forgive me if I missed that point earlier, but it's absurd to think that there shouldn't be some measure in place that keeps our society intact from 200 million plus people who.
All I think Brad is saying here is that there needs to be a measure of clear-headedness. That's all.
I agree with him, actually.
You know, do any of y'all agree with the idea that's been floated by one of Trump's surrogates, as a matter of fact, about internment camps?
I lost audio.
Yeah, Jack lost audio. So Margaret, let me.
Actually.
Go ahead, Brad, and then we'll go to Margaret.
Nothing short of obscene, and the fact that it may be viscerally satisfying to a certain percentage of us doesn't matter.
That doesn't satisfy anybody rational. No.
If this really is a war, and I believe that it is, wars are rarely viscerally satisfying when they are maximally effective. Right now, we have a tremendous number of people who either would wish war away because it doesn't feel good, or would like to feel good about going to war. Neither of those ought to be acceptable.
Margaret?
Nobody wants to go to war, number one. Who the heck, unless you're some insane neocon who profits from war, nobody is suggesting that that's a good idea. Also, internment camps, what kind of lunatic would suggest? The suggestion is that we finally have a common sense policy when it comes to the mass influx of refugees coming in from a war-torn country. We couldn't possibly vet them all. It's a common sense approach to that, and frankly, it's something that Hillary Clinton never had, which is probably in part why she's not president-elect right now. The ratcheting up of 550% in terms of numbers. The American people don't see that as a very fair solution. And I think that the American people are incredibly compassionate people. We're incredibly gracious people. And we have no ill intent or harm, much less, the desire in mass to throw anyone into an internment camp. I'm not sure what Nutt suggested that. I missed my audio's in and out as well. But look, it's a common sense approach to immigration. That's all this is, frankly. And I think that he's really on target. He's hitting, President-elect Trump is really hitting a lot of points that Americans feel but don't feel like they have the ability to say. He's saying it on their behalf.
Jack, I don't know if you've got the audio back or not. Are you back with us? No, Jack is still not back with us. Okay. Well, then I'm going to move on to a couple other topics, because it is getting that time when the outgoing president gets to issue his pardons. And there is a great hue and outcry that President Obama not only pardoned Secretary Clinton for exactly what, I'm not quite sure, because she hasn't been charged with anything, so I don't know that he can necessarily pardon her for anything, but also to pardon the dreamers, the children of illegal aliens who were brought here by their parents, who were raised here, they've grown up here, they were educated here, and there is a call for the president to do that. I don't know whether you like the idea. I don't know whether you don't like the idea. But it does come down to a legal distinction. And Jack, I don't know if you could hear me setting up that question, but we're talking about the idea of pardoning dreamers now. Can the president, Obama or any president, in fact pardon a group of people who are in the country illegally?
I haven't studied the question, but it seems difficult because the crimes would be committed perpetually on into the future.
Right.
I mean, you don't really have any convictions. If you pardon them today, they'll be committing a new crime tomorrow. Obama, I think, is politically, I think this is insane. To keep going down the road he's going, I think he's just going to make himself look bad. I think he will tarnish his legacy with these actions. And, I can only imagine, though, can you imagine, Bill, the number of executive orders that will be signed in the last 30 days as they try to booby-trap health care and booby-trap this and booby-trap that? This will probably be the greatest of all time. This is going to be the greatest exit out the door of any president. I can't even imagine what Obama and Axelrod and all these guys are thinking of now.
Well, just to that point, before I go on and get your reactions, Margaret and Brad, the president has already yesterday signed 520 pages of rules and regs. The rules and regs book for this year is 81,640 pages, and that's a record. So, Jack, buckle up. I think we're going to see a whole lot of that. But, Margaret, do you think it would be, do you think the idea of pardoning ever how many dreamers we have, I don't think he can do it either, to Jack's point.
We're talking about people that haven't committed crimes here. We're talking about 750,000 people that are in the country illegally that were mostly children. Look, I don't have a problem with that as much as I have with letting 2 million plus criminals and the catch and release system that we have now. The Fox 7 did this brilliant piece this week where we looked at the Gran Rio Valley. It's a 1,200-mile stretch. 500 people are crossing through this valley each and every day, and the border agents on the ground, reporting on this yesterday, they're so beside themselves. They don't know what to do. We have a serious problem. The 750,000 we're talking about, most of them were kids at the time. That's fine. A bigger issue I have is that we have over 214,000 births last year in this country born to women who are here illegally. That's a problem. We've got to stem the bleeding moving forward, and I think that we have the right guy in charge to do it, frankly. We're 61 days out. The president, current President Obama, can create a lot of damage in that 61 days, and frankly, January 20th cannot come soon enough.
All right, Brad, I'm going to put this to you.
Once you get into the...
Well, no, Jack, I got to get Brad in here because we're running out of time fast, and I do want to get Brad in here. Setting aside the moral or ethical idea, which is a different kind of conversation, I don't know how you legally pardon people who, as Jack pointed out, when they wake up tomorrow, have been pardoned for today, but not today.
Jack, and you are 100% correct. It's an inane idea. I don't care how much you want to keep every last dreamer in the country. It was a stupid suggestion. To be fair to the White House, they immediately responded as a procedural impossibility. It would involve retracting an executive order, which the House and Senate can do down the road. What I think is interesting about what Margaret said, where there was a kind of sense of, well, maybe emotionally we feel an appeal. They were kids. I'm not saying people have to. But wouldn't it be interesting if the very same people who would like to find a path for that 750,000 would be the same people who would address the thousands of criminals who are here illegally? Right now, the people who tend to be sympathetic to the dreamers don't want to address criminality from illegal immigrants, and the people who are passionately concerned about criminality by illegal immigrants are absolutely shut down on the issue of dreamers. So I think there is a path forward here, but the idea that the president's going to issue an executive order is just stupid. It's not procedurally possible, and it's not going to help even if he did it.
Yeah, and with that, I have to end this conversation. I could keep this going for a whole lot longer. You're all three really wonderful panelists, and I enjoy talking with you every time I do. Margaret, Brad, Jack, thank you very much.
Thank you all.
All righty. And that takes care of that part of the show. Coming up next, we have an interview with noted economist Peter Marisi. We talk about the economy, and we talk about what some see as the immediate advent of higher interest rates, and they do so for good reason, because Fed Chair Janet Yellen has already told us she thinks the economy is meriting enough strength and showing enough in the way of inflation that we need interest rates. That conversation next.